Hey everybody, Qroo here. Welcome to the second lesson of my course, Cero to Conversational. Just a quick review of what we covered in the first lesson. I showed you two really cool cognate tricks, the AL to AL trick and the TION to CION trick. I also showed you how to take that TION-CION trick a step further and make both nouns and verbs. I covered that there are three types of verbs in Spanish, those that end in AR, ER, or IR in the infinitive. The infinitive is also known as the unconjugated form of the verb. I covered that all nouns in Spanish are either masculine or feminine, including inanimate objects. The masculine nouns tend to end in O, but not always. And the feminine nouns tend to end in A, but not always. I also showed you the definite and indefinite articles for both masculine and feminine. Now don't let the English grammatical terms scare you when I say definite, indefinite articles and I'm throwing these things out. I'm telling you these things so if you want to work on something, you know what to type in Google. The definite article is the word the in English, and the indefinite article is a or an, depending on the verb. So the definite and indefinite articles for masculine nouns in Spanish are el, un, los, unos. And for feminine nouns, we have la, una, las, unas. If you have any trouble with that, you should really go back and watch that first video again. In that first video, I also introduced you to your very first mega verb in Spanish, querer, which means to want. And I showed you how to conjugate it in the first person present indicative. Quiero, quiero. You then learned how to create your own sentences using the cognate tricks and this simple formula, quiero plus infinitive. An example was, I want to participate. Quiero participar. Little simple formulas like that you can remember are a great way to help you quickly create grammatically correct sentences that you can use in real-time conversations. Today I'm going to be showing you two new formulas that will really give your Spanish a huge boost. So in any language, whether it's English, Spanish, whatever, people are often talking about three things: desire, ability, or obligation. When I say desire, that was the querer, to want. We're telling people what we want to do, and in the future lessons, we're going to be teaching you how to say what you want someone else to do. That's also going to be a big boost. But for now, it's just talking about ourselves, right? Then there's ability, and this is what you can or cannot do. This is also how we tend to ask for permission or give permission to others. Can I park here? Yes, you can park there. And finally, obligation. And that is what you or someone else has to do. You don't have any choice, like I have to work tomorrow. Today I'll be showing you two new easy constructions in the first person indicative, which is I, or the word yo in Spanish, to express ability and obligation. We'll also be working this in with your TION-CION cognate trick, as well as working in some new vocabulary. But not too much vocabulary, right? Not more than you can handle. All right, let's start with ability. We're going to be using the verb poder, poder. And that means to be able to. This is how we translate the word can in English, like I can do something. Just like with querer, to want, poder is in the infinitive or unconjugated form. To conjugate this one, we're going to have yo puedo, puedo. This one can be a little tricky to pronounce. Remember, in Spanish, we're going to be pronouncing all of the vowels, and we have that U there, so it's puedo, puedo. So you're saying puedo. It's almost like a PWE sound. Puedo, puedo. As I mentioned in the first video, the tendency in Spanish is to drop the subject if it is very clear from the verb conjugation or the context of the conversation who the verb refers to. With the first person, meaning I or yo, of the present indicative, which I often refer to as the plain old present tense, you'll learn more about that in future lessons, it is always clear from that conjugation who the person is who controls the verb, meaning I. So you can always leave off the yo. In fact, this is going to make it easier for you to create sentences down the road. It's just one less word to stick into our formula. Speaking of formulas, here's our formula. Puedo plus infinitive. Puedo plus infinitive. And that means to be able to do something. This formula looks very similar to the one you already learned. Quiero plus infinitive. I like patterns because patterns make things easier to remember. Since this formula is so close to the one you already learned, I bet you can translate this sentence on your own. Go ahead and give it a try. I can participate. I can participate. You ready? Puedo participar. Puedo participar. Remember to really focus on the vowels. Puedo participar. Especially that I, that hard E. Participar. So that was super easy, right? It was easy because you already know this pattern. But what if we wanted to ask for permission to participate? How would we make this a question? Well, that is also super easy to do. All we have to do is put an upside down question mark at the beginning of the sentence that we just created and one at the end. Then we just change our voice inflection to the same one we would use in English when we ask a question. Puedo participar? Can I participate? Puedo participar? I don't know why I'm doing this with my hands. It just seems natural. So go ahead and see if you can use your TION cognate trick to translate these sentences. Now we're going to go ahead and review the quiero plus infinitive, I want to do something, at the same time. Now I'm going to go through these one at a time, and you're going to be giving 2 sentences, and feel free to stop the video as needed because I'm only going to pause a little bit between each one. All right, you ready to do some translation? Here's your first one. I want to confirm the reservation. Can I confirm the reservation? Ready? I want to confirm the reservation. Quiero confirmar la reservación. Can I confirm the reservation? ¿Puedo confirmar la reservación? Now you say those. All right, let's go on to the next one. I want to verify the information. Can I verify the information? Ready? Quiero verificar la información. ¿Puedo verificar la información? Now you're putting the upside down question mark at the beginning. See, since the rest of the sentence really doesn't change, that's the only way you're going to know that you should have that question inflection right from the beginning. So I kind of like the idea that they stick that in there. Another thing I want to point out is that verb verificar. Verificar. It's not verificar. It's more like a soft B. Remember, a V in Spanish sounds like a soft B, like in the word ben or boy. Verificar. Verificar. All right, go ahead and try this one. I want to cancel the reservation. Can I cancel the reservation? You ready? Quiero cancelar la reservación. ¿Puedo cancelar la reservación? Now, as I mentioned in the first video, in some countries you're not going to hear the word reservación used very much. You may hear another word, reserva. It really just depends where you're at, okay? The emphasis in this particular course is on Mexican Spanish because that's what I speak, and we do use the word reservación with making reservations at restaurants, things like that. I'm going to warn you, this next one's going to be a tough one. And the reason is because I want to keep pushing you to reach your goals. So take your time with this one. If you're not having any trouble with that TION cognate trick, I think you can get it. All right. I want to consider the options. Can I consider the options? Again, take your time with this. You're probably going to stop the video. I encourage you to write it out. All right? Ready? I want to consider the options. Quiero considerar las opciones. Can I consider the options? ¿Puedo considerar las opciones? ¿Puedo considerar las opciones? I don't know why I keep doing this. Apparently I do that when I ask questions a lot. If you're having trouble translating any of these, you really need to go back and watch the first lesson again, because each one of these lessons is going to build on all the lessons before it. So if you keep going and you're not understanding all the concepts, chances are you're going to fall behind, get frustrated with the course, and just quit. We don't want you to do that. We want you to stick with this thing because I think you can be successful. And I would like to point out that you still haven't had to memorize a lot all at once. I'm trying to give you new information and vocabulary in little bite-sized portions so you'll be more likely to remember it later. As adult learners, our memories are not what they used to be, right? All right. So if we want to put this in the negative, these sentences in the negative, you know how to do that from the first lesson, and all we have to do is put no before the conjugated verb. I can't cancel the reservation. No puedo cancelar la reservación. That's not that hard, right? You try one. I can't memorize the information. I can't memorize the information. Ready? No puedo memorizar la información. No puedo memorizar la información. Now I want you to say that, but start out slow like I just did because it makes it easier to actually sound out the vowels. No puedo memorizar la información. And then you can get faster. No puedo memorizar la información. Now let's get your quiero, I want, and your puedo, I can, working together in the same sentence. Take a look at this sentence. I want to confirm the information, but I can't. Well, you already know the first part of that. Quiero confirmar la información, and here's a new word for you, pero, which means but. Quiero confirmar la información, pero no puedo. I want to confirm the information, but I can't. See, that's pretty easy, right? You can just use no puedo for a lot of things. Like somebody's asked you, hey, can you go to the beach today? No puedo. Can you work today? No puedo. No puedo. Can you take the garbage out? No puedo. I can't. So you can just use that by itself, or you can kind of work it into your sentences. I'm trying to teach you sentence fragments, plug and play phrases, things that you can pop together in different orders in order to say what you want. This is going to help you become conversational much quicker. Okay, so that's the construction we're going to be working with. I want you to try a few on your own. Again, stop the video as needed. I'm going to be giving you the answer after each one. Here's our first one. I want to participate, but I can't. I want to participate, but I can't. Ready? Quiero participar, pero no puedo. Quiero participar, pero no puedo. Make sure you're saying these out loud. Here's the next one. I want to cancel the reservation, but I can't. I want to cancel the reservation, but I can't. Ready? Quiero cancelar la reservación, pero no puedo. Quiero cancelar la reservación, pero no puedo. Like I said, you might have used reserva for reservation, and that's okay too. In that case, you would have Quiero cancelar la reserva, pero no puedo. Try this one. I want to celebrate, but I can't. I want to celebrate, but I can't. Ready? Quiero celebrar, pero no puedo. Quiero celebrar, pero no puedo. Now you say it. All right, here's our next one. I want to explore the options, but I can't. I want to explore the options, but I can't. Ready? Quiero explorar las opciones, pero no puedo. Quiero explorar las opciones, pero no puedo. All right, here's our next one. I want to rectify the situation, but I can't. I want to rectify the situation, but I can't. Ready? Quiero rectificar la situación, pero no puedo. And again, take your time saying these at first so you pronounce all the vowels, and then you can get faster with time. Quiero rectificar la situación, pero no puedo. So that wasn't too tough, was it? All right, now let's move on to obligation. For this one, you're going to be learning the mega verb tener, which means to have. I call it a mega verb because you'll be using it to say all kinds of things down the road. It's going to be one of the most useful Spanish verbs you'll ever learn. All right, we're going to translate this in the first person present indicative, just like we did with querer and poder. Yo tengo, I have. So repeat after me. Yo tengo, tengo. As we discussed before, the yo is often dropped from the sentence, and this is still going to be happening, so we're really just going to be saying tengo, tengo. This is not a super difficult word to say, and you're going to be using it all the time. You can use this word to make simple sentences with nouns as you learn them, like tengo una casa. I have a house. Tengo un coche. I have a car. That's a useful construction, but that's not what we're covering in this lesson. We're going to be covering obligation, as in to have to do something. So this formula is going to be a little bit longer than what you're used to. Tengo plus que plus infinitive. and that is I have to do something, whatever we plug in the infinitive. That que in there is probably new to you. You're going to see que used a lot in Spanish, and it can be translated in different ways depending on how it's used. It's not something I can cover in a single lesson. A couple of the most common ways are que with an accent over it, and it means what, like ¿qué quieres? What do you want? And without an accent mark, it can often be translated as that or which, something similar to that, like in the sentence, el hombre que vive en la casa verde, the man that lives in the green house. But sometimes que doesn't have a direct translation for it at all, and that's what it's doing here. This is a good example of how Spanish will not fit your English paradigm perfectly, meaning word-for-word translations are not always possible, and some things you're just going to have to accept if you ever hope to move forward and meet your language goals. You just have to know that a certain collection of words is going to be the equivalent of something else in English. So here you know that tener plus que plus infinitive means to have to do something. You're not actually translating that que. All you have to do is conjugate the tener part, right? Because it's just to have. And we've already done that, right? We've done tengo. So we have tengo, que, and then infinitive. Now I'm just going to plug in verbs into the infinitive, and that's what I have to do. So it's going to look like this. I have to participate. Tengo que participar. It's super easy. You're still just using a formula that's very similar to the other ones you did, except that it just has this extra word in it, que, but it's still part of the formula. By now, you're probably getting tired of using TIO cognate tricks, but let's do a couple more before we move on to some new vocabulary to plug into these three formulas that we're going to be focusing on today. And the three formulas are quiero plus infinitive, I want to do something. Puedo plus infinitive, I can do something, or asking can I do something. And tengo plus que plus infinitive, I have to do something. So it's translation time again, and you're going to be translating 3 sentences utilizing these formulas, and after you translate them, I'm going to tell you what the answers are, and you're going to get a chance to practice your pronunciation. Now, unless you're a really fast translator, you may want to stop the video and actually work these out, write them out. All right. Here are our first 3. I want to rectify the situation. I can rectify the situation, and I have to rectify the situation. Ready? I want to rectify the situation. Quiero rectificar la situación. All cognate tricks and a formula. I can rectify the situation. Puedo rectificar la situación. And I have to rectify the situation. Tengo que rectificar la situación. Did you get those? I'm sure after you already worked out, I want to rectify, and you knew the rectify situation, the other 2 came much faster, right? That's how this works. You're going to get progressively faster at using these formulas, and that's how you're going to reach your conversational level quickly. All right, now try these. I want to prolong the conversation. Can I prolong the conversation? I have to prolong the conversation. All right, you ready? I want to prolong the conversation. Quiero prolongar la conversación. Can I prolong the conversation? ¿Puedo prolongar la conversación? I have to prolong the conversation. Tengo que prolongar la conversación. To get that one correct, you had to actually know that prolongation was an English word. And I don't know if everybody does. So learning Spanish might even boost your English. All right, we're going to do one more. I want to facilitate the transition. I can facilitate the transition. I have to facilitate the transition. Ready? I want to facilitate the transition. Quiero facilitar la transición. I can facilitate the transition. Puedo facilitar la transición. And I have to facilitate the transition. Tengo que facilitar la transición. Remember, say it slow at first. Say it slow. You'll get faster. I got to tell you, those are some pretty big words there, but they're all coming from your English. So you already sound super intelligent in Spanish, and you just started to learn it. Still, it's unlikely that you'll be having such intellectual conversations to start, so let's work in some more common vocabulary. The next verb I want to show you is ir, and it's kind of pronounced like your ear, and it means to go. We're always talking about going somewhere, right? So this is going to be a super useful verb. We won't be conjugating this verb today. That's good news for you folks that don't want to have a lot to memorize out of one lesson, and we're just going to be plugging it in. But we're going to create a second formula to attach to our first formula, and here it is. Ir plus a plus location means to go to somewhere. All right, so let's play with this a little bit. Let's take a new word. It might be new to you. La tienda, which means the store. It is a feminine noun. I already put the on it for you. And we're going to plug it into what we've already learned. I want to say, I want to go to the store. Can I go to the store? I have to go to the store. And all we're doing is combining some formulas, right? So we end up with, I want to go to the store. Quiero ir a la tienda. Can I go to the store? ¿Puedo ir a la tienda? I have to go to the store. Tengo que ir a la tienda. All right, so we're going to be doing these. You're going to be doing these. Now, I don't expect you to learn all the new vocabulary for locations. I'm just using them as examples. You may pick up a couple today. That's great. You may not, but the whole point is just to practice. So I'm going to give you a location, right? Our next one is la farmacia. La farmacia, which means the pharmacy. And I want you to translate 3 sentences. I want to go to the pharmacy. Can I go to the pharmacy? I have to go to the pharmacy. Stop the video if you need to. Only going to pause just a moment. Ready? I want to go to the pharmacy. Quiero ir a la farmacia. Can I go to the pharmacy? ¿Puedo ir a la farmacia? I have to go to the pharmacy. Tengo que ir a la farmacia. Make sure as we go through these that you're saying these out loud so you can fine-tune your Spanish pronunciation. Let's take a look at this word. El hospital. Now the H is silent, remember? El hospital, it means the hospital. Now this is a masculine noun, so it's going to change how we make our sentence, our construction, just a little bit, all right? And here's why. Let's say I want to say I want to go to somewhere, right? How does that start? Quiero ir a. Super easy. Now, if you put the hospital in, it makes a really weird sound. Quiero ir a el hospital. It just doesn't go well together. So what Spanish does is actually combine them. So you have the a plus the el equals al. It becomes al. So I would say, quiero ir al hospital. I want to go to the hospital. This is just a little tweak when you're dealing with masculine nouns that are singular. All right. Now, I also want to point out something else. This el with no accent means the. And el with an accent means he. And if you're dealing with he, then it's not going to combine to be al. All right. I just thought I'd point that out in case you see an e with an accent on it. That's a different word. All right. Now I kind of got you started on el hospital, but I don't want to finish it for you. So we're still going to do, I want to go to the hospital. Can I go to the hospital? And I have to go to the hospital. Go ahead. Your turn. I'm sure you're getting faster at these. Quiero ir al hospital. I want to go to the hospital. ¿Puedo ir al hospital? Can I go to the hospital? And tengo que ir al hospital. I have to go to the hospital. Next one. La casa. The house. Okay, you ready? I'm also going to leave out the English translations because I think you're recognizing the pattern now. Quiero ir a la casa. ¿Puedo ir a la casa? And tengo que ir a la casa. Next one, el cine, the movies. Quiero ir al cine. Did you remember to put al instead of a el? Al. ¿Puedo ir al cine? Tengo que ir al cine. El banco, the bank. Ready? Quiero ir al banco. ¿Puedo ir al banco? Tengo que ir al banco. I'm only going to give you one more because I think you have this pattern down, and I'm fairly confident that these are coming out pretty fast now, right? One last one, el centro, which just means the downtown area, all right? Say them out loud. Quiero ir al centro. I want to go downtown. ¿Puedo ir al centro? Can I go downtown? Tengo que ir al centro. I have to go downtown. Now I know that was a bit repetitious, but through repetition, you're going to get much faster. And really, the goal here is that you can keep up with a conversation in real time. So what I really want you to learn from this lesson before moving on are the items that we have here on the screen. Poder, which means to be able to. We conjugated it into the first person present indicative, the I, which is puedo, puedo. And we use the formula puedo plus infinitive, I can do something. Next big verb is tener, to have, which we also conjugated in the first person, tengo, tengo, I have. And the super useful construction, tengo plus que plus infinitive means I have to do something. The other verb you learned was ir, to go. We did not learn any conjugations with it. It is a very irregular verb, so we're going to spend probably an entire lesson just on this verb. But you did learn a cool construction with it, ir plus a plus location. Now, the whole point of me teaching you different constructions like this are so that you can pop in other vocabulary as you learn it to say things you want to talk about. Because you may not be talking about all the same things I want to talk about. So in order to learn some new words so you can start to use these constructions, I recommend going to wordreference.com. They also have a phenomenal app. I think it's probably the best online dictionary for English, Spanish, for learning. So let's say I learned the constructions today and I want to say something like, I want to go to the park, but I don't know park. So I look it up in wordreference.com and it just says parque and it says it's masculine. Okay, I can plug that in. Quiero ir al parque. And I remember to use al, right? Because it's a masculine noun. But that's what I want you to do. I want you to start to think of ways to practice these constructions on your own. And that's going to help you also start learning vocabulary that I'm not specifically covering in these lessons. The reason I'm doing it this way is because I don't want you to sound like a phrase book in Spanish. I want to give you the tools to create your own sentences and then speak about a wide range of topics using the same simple formulas and just plugging in new vocab here and there. So this is only the second lesson in the course, but some folks have already commented that these lessons are challenging. Well, they're meant to be. I want to help you reach your language goals quickly, and that's not going to happen if you're not pushing yourself. You know, perhaps you've used or still using those popular like little language apps to learn Spanish, and I'm not going to name any specifically. To be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of those. I think they're more like video games. They make you feel good about progressing in a language because you're getting small things right. But in the end, can you actually speak the language? Maybe, maybe not. I have a friend who uses one for Spanish all the time, and he showed me his app, and he goes, look, I'm 80% fluent in Spanish. Yet this guy's been at it for over a year, and he can barely say anything in Spanish. And I can tell you that there is no way he'd be able to translate the sentences that you've been translating in both this lesson and the first one. This is not your traditional Spanish program. It's definitely going to push you, and we're going to use some unconventional methods to do it. But if you put in the time and effort, I think you'll be pleased with the results. I've been teaching people this method with either small groups or individuals for about 20 years now with great success. Well, that's it for today's lesson. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. Also, I put a link to the playlist for this series in the description portion of the video. You might want to save that to your favorites as new lessons get added. They're just going to be added to that playlist. All right. Well, until next time, hasta luego.